Welcome back to another episode of MotoGP Mac, and today we're going to talk about the sprint race that just happened in Aragon. Now, before we get into it, here's how it finished. Marc Marquez won it from Jorge Martin, Pedro Acosta, Alex Marquez, Miguel Oliveira, Brad Binder, Enea Bastianini, Fabio Quartararo, Pecco Bagnaia, Marco Bezzecchi, Raul Fernandez, Augusto Fernandez, Jack Miller, Taka Nakagami, Fabio Di Antonio, Luca Marini, Alex Rins, Joan Mir, and Maverick Vinales was the last one across the line. Franco Morbidelli crashed and then retired. Johan Zarco crashed and retired, and Aleix Espargaro had an incident in turn one and was out of the race. But today really is only about one man, and that was Marc Marquez. He was absolutely brilliant. Won it by 2.9 seconds and looked every bit the old Marc Marquez in days gone by. Absolutely brilliant. Every session that he's been out on, he's absolutely smashed it, and he's done absolutely brilliant today. It was a masterclass so far of this weekend. One more race to go tomorrow, and it will be a clean sweep of it. Jorge Martin did keep pace with Marc for the first few laps, but Martin was very open with, he's only worried about Pecco. He's not worried about Marc. But I will say this, if Marc continues this speed after this weekend, which I'm not quite sure he will, if I'm honest, because this is a Marc Marquez circuit. It is a left-hand turn circuit. So we will wait and see. But Martin is only really focusing on Pecco for now. Pedro Acosta, very, very solid race as well. Didn't have the pace of Jorge Martin or Marc Marquez, but again, was unchallenged for most of the race. Alex Marquez was very lucky at the start to avoid hitting Pecco. Was behind Pecco, but then Pecco made a mistake. But he did do a solid race, to be fair and honest with it. Also, Miguel Oliveira did a very, very good race. Didn't have the pace of the ones in front of him, but saying that, he did a really, really good race. Binder was having a good battle with Pecco, but again, himself and Bastianini were quite close towards the end of it, so it was a good bit of a tussle. Fabio Quartararo, really, really good ride from Fabio today. I think he was a long way down on the grid, and he came back through it, battling with Pecco head to head and successfully beating him. So big up for Fabio. What an absolute humdinger of a race from him. Pecco Bagnaia is probably, I don't know what has gone on there. Obviously, when he started the race, he spun up completely and was lucky to be missed by other riders that were launching off the line. The circuit on the inside is absolutely manky dirty. It's actually a little bit of a disgrace, and those are the words of Maverick Vinales. It's unacceptable, is what he said, that it is really, really dirty. But he spun up, but he just then didn't look like he had the pace. I don't know. Did something happen to the tire when he spun up or something like that? But he kept pushing on, running wide, didn't look comfortable with the front either. So something is definitely wrong there for Pecco, and he just struggled to beat Marco Bezzecchi across the line to get a point in the sprint race. Marco Bezzecchi did an okay race. I still expect Bezzecchi to be a little bit further up, but saying that, 10th is okay. Raul Fernandez and Augusto Fernandez, they did have a good race, to be fair. The Aprilias are struggling, so it's good enough for him. Augusto, again, look, realistically, he's out of a ride for next season. He's just going to go and enjoy his time. I do think it's fitting that he did beat Jack Miller, if you do look at it. Miller, again, just finishing behind Augusto Fernandez, most likely burnt out his tyres. Taka Nakagami had an okay race, 14th place, nothing majorly special. You can say top Honda if you want to, but again, I just don't know what to say about Hondas. Fabio Di Giannantonio kind of knew that he was going to suffer in the race. He is still injured and coming back from injury, so it will be interesting to see in the next couple of races how he can go. Um, Luca Marini, second Honda home, good solid, I suppose. Alex Rins, there's definitely questions for me about Rins now. He needs some really, really good races. You know what I mean? He's finishing the bones of nearly 8 or 9 seconds behind Fabio. So Rins is a good rider, so he shouldn't be that far behind. Joan Mir, again, last Honda home by a good bit, 5 seconds behind Marini. Maverick Vinales dropped like a stone. Look, the circuit, and I very rare would I agree with Maverick. You can see it on the track. The circuit is not slippy; it is actually dirty, and they've laid new tarmac and resurfaced it. And some of the times when they resurface it takes time to cure, but also there is a lot of sand on the side of that track, and the track is just naturally dirty. And you could see it when watching it on the big TV screen that it was actually a manky, filthy, dirty. So some of the riders don't do well. A majority of the riders are not doing well in the low grip circuit. It's the same for everyone. I get that. So I am not complaining about it. Just saying, what happened with Pecco at the start, that's an accident waiting to happen. You could see it before the start of the race. Someone was going to have one of those. So for me, definitely needs to be looked at for anyone on the inside of the track. Has to be something, because obviously it's more of a dangerous thing than anything. And I'm not saying anything about ride heights and whatever. I'm just saying that there is a massively dirty side of the track for people that are trying to put down 300 horsepower at a start. Whatever about once the race is going, there's a racing line, I'm comfortable with that. But when you have bikes across like that, it's a little bit questionable. Franco Morbidelli, obviously he crashed out, remounted, and then did another lap or two, I think, and then came in. Zarco, who was, first time Honda was in Q2 directly, did okay in the qualified 10th, I believe. It was just sad to see him go down a couple of laps into the race. And as I mentioned, Alicia Spagro was in an incident, hit the back of Di Giannantonio and went down in the first corner. All in all, I think it was a pretty good race, actually. There was a little bit of frantic in it, which kept the race interesting. It wasn't a dull sprint. Delighted for Marc Marquez to end the drought of 1,040 days or something. I know people will say that this doesn't count as an official race win and whatever, and they're right 100%. But a race happened and Marc Marquez crossed the line first. For me, I'm personally very happy to him to see that he came back to it, and I think it's definitely put Pecco and Martin on a little bit of watch. But it'll be very interesting to see in the next race next weekend, can he do that? Obviously he has tomorrow's main race in Aragon to go, but my kind of point here is this just because of Marc's on a good bike in a circuit that he absolutely adores? But I would definitely love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the sprint? Who was your rider of the day? Definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video.